Borough Student Advisory Council, aka VSAC. Some of y'all might know me because I just dominated. I didn't even finish with what I said. I dominated that. I dominated everybody in 11 in the Energizer activity. We can go 11. All right, so in BSAC, we actually aim to focus on issues that's across the community and the borough. And we actually focus on communities and schools and how we could fix it. And also try to engage youth and adults to work together.
Hi there, my name is Mark Fernandez. Let's see. So I work for an organization in New York City called Youth Inc. We do capacity building for nonprofits on the ground that do youth development work. At the same time, I also have a background in youth adult partnership and have been working inside government and in communities, kind of building youth adult partnership models and focusing specifically on using youth participatory action research as a way to build a foundation for young people to drive their policy work. And so it's really nice to be here. Thank you.
All right, just to remind y'all, this is a wide, hard, some of y'all might know it, youth participation actionary research. All right, this is youth-led. These people right here are doing amazing work, making an impact in their communities and trying to make change. To start off, we're going to go with Sameen DeVobre. I got it right. Sameen is a senior at Preparatory Charter High School here in Philadelphia and will be attending Morgan State University. She will be majoring in biology, and she's also the high school co-executive director of a youth-run non-profit food business called Rebel Ventures. What type of food you got? We'll be talking later. Next up, we have Julian Giordano. He is from the Youth Tactique program in NYC. Julian is a member of the Youth Tactique program, which aims to dismantle disproportionality and foster equity across NYC schools. This past year, Julian and his peers helped conduct a survey that asked students to draw and caption what disproportionality looks like in their schools. This is this is really important because this actually shows the symptoms of disproportionality from a youth perspective. And a lot of things, we don't have the youth perspective, and this is very important for that. Julian and a couple of other members of the YTAC program presented a keynote address at the NYU Metro's Summer Institute Conference last week. And last but not least, Tatiana Valdez. She's from the she's from the Brooklyn North Borough Student Advisory Council, same thing as me. So Tatiana is a member of Bushwick Leaders High School. This past year, she and her group, School Food, was a youth adult working group, and they were in partnership with the Office of School Food and Nutrition Services. Tatiana helped design Are You Hangry? It is a poster for cafeterias with a QR code for providing feedback on school lunch via survey. These people right here are the youth. They're the future. They're doing amazing things right now, and I'll say keep on continuing to do it. Just to remind y'all, it's just a conversation between us, just a discussion so you can loosen up. Don't look nervous. Don't feel nervous. Okay? Just imagine it's just us in the room. These people right here don't know how to mind their business. So now we're gonna pass it off to Mark.
All right, great. So We did give you a little intro, but it would be really great for you each to share a brief sentence or two about who you are, what organization you're representing, and why you personally got involved in this work. And let's start at the end and we'll work our way this direction.
So, my name is Sumi. I work at a nonprofit organization called Rebel Ventures. Right there. I got involved because I was young, like in 10th grade, and I was looking for a job, and I heard about Rebel Ventures. So I applied, and I did like a week-long interview. And then I was hired for the summertime, and I think I stayed because of the mission, which is the create healthy businesses with kids and for kids.
Hello, my name is Tatiana. I'm a student in Bridget High School, sophomore. I'm part of the Brooklyn North Student Advisory Council, and I got involved through the end of the year event, which showed how students got to express their opinions about problems or issues that may be present in schools. And I was attracted by that because I want to impact, schools, and I want other students like me to do the same and to be inspired by me. And I was inspired by others in that end of the year event.
Hi, my name is Julian, and I'm a member of YTAC-D, which is a bit of a mouthful. It means the Youth Technical Assistance Center on Addressing Disproportionality. Basically, it's a component of the Metro Center that looks into disproportionality and inequity in New York City schools. And disproportionality, if you're not familiar with it, is basically a basic definition is the overrepresentation or underrepresentation of a certain group in a certain educational outcome, or in disciplinary data, or the way curriculum works, admissions. So the most common evidence of that in New York City is a black student is 4 times more likely as a white student to be suspended for the same disciplinary infraction. So how I got involved with that is I sort of grew up in a very privileged and sort of shelter-bubbled community in the Upper West Side of Manhattan. And I started getting interested in student voice. And when this opportunity for a youth group as part of the Metro Center, which is a component of NYU that studied disproportionality, when the opportunity for a youth group about that popped up, I joined in. And upon learning about the enormous problems that New York City has with disproportionality and segregation within the education system, that really made me want to stay and learn more and conduct research and fight it.
Great. Alright, so what I would like to ask is the applause is fantastic, but I want to hold the applause for now as we try to get into a dialogue together, and every time the clap happens it kind of stops that process. So if we can hold the applause for now and we'll give a huge applause at the end, that would be fantastic. So for Katiana, so when you all think about research, and we can start with you and then you can pass it on. When you all think about research, and we're talking about youth participatory action research, so what do you think about in terms of the actionable piece? What is the action to the work that you're doing?
I believe the action to the work that we're doing is, say, related to me in school, in my group, school food group. The action was putting the service out there and being able to collect the data and get the information from the students so we could compare it and so we could solve our problem, which was waste in school food. I believe that that's the action.
The action for me was, creating our product, which is the Apple Delight Rebel Crumble, and getting it to the school district of Philadelphia where kids are actually eating it, because our mission is for kids to gain more knowledge about eating healthy and actually eating healthy. And that's happening, so I think that would be the action.
So before you go on, so can you just talk quickly about like what were the steps that you took as like a group to get from, you know, you have this end result, which is this incredible, you know, edible thing that's now in schools. Like what were kind of the main steps that you took to get there?
This was a very, very long process. But honestly, I can tell you where it started from. So it started as a classroom nutrition project. My coworker over here, Jared Stein, was the nutrition teacher. And after that, the school closed down that it was in, and it turned into a after-school drop changer program. And they started making Rebel bars, which was like a granola bar. And then we moved on to Rebel Crumbles, and Rebel Crumbles, the school district came to us and asked us to create a product that has a half cup of fruit and I think in 18 components of grains. And they tested it for like a year or so, maybe more, and came up with the Rebel Crumble. And it was distributed throughout the school district of Philadelphia to kids.
Very nice. Just in case anybody knows what Rebel Crumbles is these right here.
Can we open this? All right, we can eat it. We're allowed to eat it.
I'll take a piece.
Okay.
We talk about like how research is actionable, but what does it mean to be like youth researchers and just making a change and an impact in your community? Anybody can start.
Sure. I think, and just adding on to that, I think one of the things that in YTechD, a lot of our research, in terms of action items afterwards, we struggled because we were presenting the research that we found, but we were figuring out, you know, how do you drive it further? And one of the things that I think YPAR does in terms of action research is that the research itself is a form of activism. And the action, part of the action involves reaching out to youth and getting youth responses through the research. And the concept is that, you know, so what we did is we basically created surveys, created forms for students to respond. And through the surveys, they would both learn about disproportionality and then connect their own experiences to it. And part of that means that when we distribute that survey to students, you know, around the 5 boroughs of New York City, they learn about what disproportionality is. They connect their own experiences to it, and that in itself spurs action. And then you see students like writing on these surveys that they want to become involved in this. Or I see a student in the hallways who's like, I saw that survey. I want to make action towards this. And so by doing the research and by creating this like reflection, you also like create this sort of activism among students, and you spread awareness of the issue that you're researching. So like the research in itself is almost a form of activism.
You asked the question one more time.
What does it mean to be, for you to be a researcher or a knowledge creator and making a change in your community?
Honestly, for me, I think it would be having my own voice and actually creating solutions to the issues that are in our communities, which is the big issue is food deserts and lack of access to healthy foods. So, the solution, we are, by creating Rebel Crumbles, we are helping that issue.
I believe that to be a youth researcher means to stand up, give your opinions respectfully, you know, become part of the program that could help you, like BSAC, as we see, all of these free programs, or places, and be part of the solution. Yeah.
Yeah. We also, like, talking about the issues that you faced and you've tried to solve, of how does like being involved in this kind of research, change your understanding of how to address problems that concern you?
I think there's certainly a lens I think that comes with like doing research, and so in terms of addressing the problem, research both opens you up to like different avenues, and you have student responses that all of a sudden lead you to learn more about intersectionality between different issues, and then sorry, what was the question about? Sorry.
It was like, how does it change your understanding of how to address certain issues that concern you?
Yeah.
Of that kind of research.
So I think, yeah, it definitely, one of the most important things about research is you can study like a problem conceptually for a really long time, and you can like read textbooks about like what is disproportionality and like what are the statistics and what does that look like. But like doing the research through a student perspective, it allows you to see individual voices that make up that story, and it allows you to like piece together like what the actual lived experience is, which is incredibly important if you want to create sustainable change, because you need to take into account not only what are the statistics, but also like what does someone experience and how can you change that experience, and what are the different factors that affect that experience. And I think by doing research, you open yourself up to those different avenues.
Okay. How does being involved with this kind of research change your understanding of how to address problems or issues that concern you?
Being involved in this kind of research open my eyes, because it's not easy, it's not easy you have to be responsible to persevere to the end, and yeah, it's like a whole new understanding of it, because when you're going through struggles, like you see it, or when somebody else is doing it, you see it and you're like, oh yeah, that seems simple, that I could do that. But when you're in the progress, you notice that it's gonna take time, that it's not gonna be tomorrow. You're not gonna see the solution tomorrow. That you need steps to get there. And yeah, being part of this process has taught me that.
Okay. One more time with the question, please.
We're gonna do this again. How does being involved with this kind of research change your understanding of how to address problems or issues that can concern you?
Oh yeah, so I can say that I come from a neighborhood that kids have no type of like access to healthy foods or knowledge on healthy foods. So, and for me, when I came into Rebel, I was like figuring out things and learning new things. So honestly, I think I can apply all of the things that I learned about living a healthy lifestyle to educate maybe kids in my community or even adults even so.
So what I seen like is an issue, not an issue, but a theme of like perseverance and taking steps, and it's going to be a long process. I think people need to remember that it's not just a sprint, it's a marathon, and we're in here for the long run. It's going to take time, it's going to take patience, and through the marathon, you're going to have ups and downs, of course. So my next question is, what were some of the challenging moments, and what made them so? Sameen, let's start with you first.
Are you asking what are some of the challenging moments in our work?
Yeah, in your work, like what you was doing.
I could say one of the most challenging things that I did in our work was honestly, so we're in ShopRite, right? It's a market that a lot of people go to in the neighborhood, and that was like one of the hardest things I did in my work, because we wanted kids think of school food as like, it's free, so it's nasty. That's what they think of it. And we wanted them to not think that it's nasty because it's free. So we wanted to put our product in somewhere where they're familiar with it and where they can see it at. So we did ShopRite, and that took like 3 trial runs, and all 3 had to be a success. And it was really hard. So yeah, that was definitely a challenge, because we wanted to spend where our product is held at. Not just in school district, we wanted to make it in a retail store as well. And ShopRite is honestly still a continuous challenge because we gotta still focus on sales and like marketing and a display of the product. And that is honestly hard as we go, but we still learn as we go too.
I think a challenge for me was, or for my group, was putting out the surveys because we made them, but when it came to my school, you know, when it came to reminding each other of these surveys, when it came to reminding each other of the surveys, we had, you know, a group chat, and we did, but the hard part was sometimes we will forget. So we will put reminders in our calendars, but sometimes we will look at them and be like, oh, we're going to school, we're going to do this, but then we forget. Or there was this teacher that helped me, and for this first round, it was Al, she emailed it to all of the students in my school, but then for the second and for the third, you know, I kept reminding her, but she forgot, and she kept forgetting. I don't think it was intentional, but you know, that was an obstacle because the school food group, we didn't get to see much results from my school and from others that might not be similar or having problems like mine. My school doesn't have a kitchen. Yeah, it was an obstacle.
I think there were many challenges that we faced along like our process, similar to Katiana's. But one of the biggest challenges I think we faced is we wanted to collect data that was like written responses